Hello, fellow flutists. I am Alexandra Türk-Espitalier, and today I want to speak about a very important topic, about posture. Being a flutist myself, but also a physiotherapist and expert in music physiology, many flutists ask me for advice concerning their posture. In this lecture, I want to show you a different approach to that topic and would like to encourage you to notice and learn from situations different than flute playing that may be beneficial for your posture. So, let's go outside. Here you can see a young red spruce. As you can notice, it grows next to an old tree to benefit from its nutrients. But of course the ground is not perfectly even. So when you look at the base, you see that it started growing towards the right, then makes a turn towards the left, but ends up straight at the top. So although this tree has a scoliosis, it is in balance overall. Because if you draw a line from the base to the top, it is perfectly vertical. Our spine does exactly the same. If you have a tilted pelvis, or different leg length, or just standing really sloppy, your lumbar spine will bend towards one side. In order to not to fall to that side, and because our brain always wants to place our eyes horizontally, a second bend to the other side will occur in the thoracic or cervical spine. Now, is this good or bad for your health? Well, first of all, it is a strategy of the tree or the body to cope with a given situation, for example, uneven ground, and to work with gravity. Experience shows that people with scoliosis who have multiple curves but are at least balanced within gravity, that means that the center of gravity of their head is on top of that between their feet, have less problems than those who are completely off to the side. So what about those living beings who do not balance their top above their feet? What other strategies are there? Let's take a look at a different tree. Here I am next to a hawthorn tree. It actually looks like a flute player, just to the other side. All its branches are growing to the right side because the light is coming from that side. But as you can see, its center of gravity is way off to the side. So why is this tree not falling? First, there is this large branch growing straight up. This sure helps for balance. Secondly, if you take a closer look at the base, you will notice that there is a large root growing towards the left. So this root acts like a big lever for the weight of the branches on the right side. And third, its fibers have adapted to the compression and traction forces. I don't want to cut that tree now to show you that, but I will show you the adaptation of fibers to forces on a tree that already has been cut. Here you can see the stump of a red spruce. You can see very well how the fibers grew differently according to traction and compression forces. If you take a look at the core of the tree, you will see that the distance to the right side is double the distance to the left. You can also see that the fibers are a lot more apart from each other on that side than on this side. This is a normal adaptation to wind and weather, and therefore adaptation to forces. Our body does the same. If you take a look at the structure of bones, you will see how fibers are arranged inside the bone according to the forces being applied on that bone. Depending on the length of the lever, bending forces can be very high, but also compression forces on the other side. This is nicely illustrated here with the femur. If compression is high and remains constant for many years, bones can deform and joints can be destructed, resulting in uncomfortable pain. But not only bones, also connective tissue and muscles react to forces. If you bend over to one side all the time, the muscles on the concave side will shorten and become weak. The ones on the convex side will be under constant strain, preventing the torso from falling even more to that side. And what's the consequence of this disbalance? Again, pain. Musculoskeletal pain and reduced fascial elasticity. So the tree actually has an advantage because it probably does not feel pain when its fibers grow asymmetrically, contrary to our muscles and joints, which hurt when the disbalance becomes too big. So, why am I showing trees to flutists? Because I think the abstract topic of an organism reacting to gravity and forces is easier to understand when you can actually see what is going on. Physics and biomechanics sound a little bit frightening to most people, but actually it is super interesting because it is the answer to many questions regarding posture and the musculoskeletal system. So, for the transfer to the flute, let's go back inside. One of the most common problems among musicians is muscular pain in the back, shoulder and neck area. Flutists are no exception, and their problems are usually blamed on the asymmetrical position when holding the flute. Well, yes, dealing with an asymmetrical position is a little bit more tricky than with a symmetrical one. But I am a strong advocate of healthy flute playing. I do not think that pain is normal or necessary or unavoidable when playing the flute. What is more important for us is to take care of a proper alignment of the body. Alignment means that all body sections are placed in the correct position towards each other. It also means that the joints are well centered and not off to one direction. A good alignment is crucial for a healthy musculoskeletal system, regardless of what you do, because it means that the forces that are acting on the body are balanced as well as possible. Malalignment, on the other hand, leads to higher pressure on the compressed side of the joint and to muscle disbalance and tension. Let me give you a few examples with the flute. If you look at my head now, you will see that it is in front of the shoulder girdle. This is the most common malalignment among flutists. Another one is the right shoulder being pushed forward, like this. And another one would be the right hip not being properly centered and instead falling off to the side. The correct position would be like this: a centered and well-placed hip, the head above the cervical spine, and the right shoulder just following nicely out of the thoracic spine at the shoulder girdle and the arm going towards the flute. So, you see, what is important is to feel gravity and to develop a good body awareness so that you know where to position your joints and how to align yourself. And all of this does not mean that it cannot be done while moving. No, it can be done while standing and moving, and it is not limited to flute playing. The whole concept, the whole thinking of alignment is absolutely not limited to a certain task, such as playing an instrument, but it is a rather universal way of thinking. So, let me show you a few other situations. So, we had trees. They can be curved, but for overall balance, the top should end up aligned with the base. Sports are a great field where you can see both malalignment and well-aligned athletes. This photo of a fencer shows a perfectly placed knee in relation to the hip and foot. Dance, figure skating, cross-country skiing. There are numerous sports where you can see biomechanics in action and where you can use these situations as a transfer and help for your own posture. Art, however, is often not a great example. Manet's Pfeiffer, a painting that all flutists love, is a terrible example of a good alignment, but a wonderful piece of art. For those of you who love horses, the Art of Dressage can be an inspiration. If you look at this wonderfully balanced horse and rider, you will notice strength, lightness, and elasticity all together. The old horse masters from the 16th and 17th century, Pluvinel and de la Guérinière, wanted the horse being trained in a way that makes it more beautiful and keeps it healthy for a long life. So it may seem like a long way from Baroque horse training to flute posture, but the idea of training or practicing to stay healthy and to make movements more light and fluid is something we can definitely use for ourselves. So, next time you're unsure about your posture, keep the following terms in mind and heighten your body awareness to feel them. Alignment. Check that none of your joints is somewhere off in a direction where it does not belong. Gravity. Feel your center of gravity and move and stand in balance. Energy. Moving centered and well aligned saves you energy that can be used otherwise. Prevention. Again, moving centered and well aligned keeps you pain-free because your joints and muscles will not have to deal with unnecessary strain and pressure. Inspiration. Look at the world around you to find examples that help you visualize and feel. So, I hope you enjoyed this little lecture, and if you want to learn more about music physiology, check my YouTube channel or my book Musicians in Motion. All the best and have fun practicing!